Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to our Let's Play series, playing Suzerain, the 2.0 amendment update. As you may recall, in this series we are trying to be a little bit more of an evil dictator. Hasn't really worked out quite that way yet. We've been a little bit evil, but also fairly pragmatic. We've gained acceptance for our constitutional amendment through the Congress or the Parliament. We still have to get it past the Supreme Court. We have basically given ourselves immunity to prosecution from the sort of impeachment proceedings. We have agreed to a 2-term limit for the term limits, but we've given ourselves, generally speaking, more power in Suzerain as part of this amendment process. Now, we have also turned the economy around a bit. You can see here the growth line up at the top is trending upwards, so that is good. We are, I think, out of the recession, and we are in the process of trying to convince the Supreme Court to go along with our amendments. We gained the first individual's agreement to go with us, and now we've got to try and win the second individual, Justice Rayne. Justice Garaki has rejected our initial talks, but we can try and convince him once again. One quick call out for the folks of you who are watching on stream, probably not as relevant if you're watching this later on YouTube, but we are running a giveaway tonight for Suzerain. If you're interested in picking a copy up for free, I do have 3 keys I'm giving away tonight, and all you have to do is type !enter into the chat, and you will be entered to win. We'll probably announce our first winner after about an hour or so. Without further ado, though, let's jump back into our Let's Play series of Suzerain and see how things go. So we're going to reach out to Justice Rayne and see what happens here. The vote of the Supreme Court draws near, and we need to sway Justice Rayne Graki to maximize our chance of winning for the new constitution. After the initial rejection, we could bribe him, send Lucian or Nia to convince him to enter into negotiation table, or outright ignore the justice. We have personal wealth. What is wealth if not to use it? Let's bribe him. Big, you can also just do !enter. Okay, so we bribed him. Are we gonna meet with him now? I guess. Let's see what happens. It was yet another sunny day, and I was facing another important. So did I only bribe him to come talk to me, like not to actually vote my way? It was another sunny day, and I was facing another important political figure, Rayne Graki. The bribe had worked, and he agreed to have the meeting with me just before the court vote. We scheduled to meet outside Whole Sword in my new vineyard in Ellery, where we could enjoy some privacy. I grabbed a drink and sat down under the shadow of a red oak at the villa's garden, overlooking the red grapevines. Rayne sat next to me in his beige checked suit and took off his white tribly. Very nice place you have here, Mr. President. Didn't know you were a wine grower. Me neither, it just happens. I like the calmness here and the sight of the grapevines. You're lucky to have such a place to come and relax. He straightened himself. So, Mr. President, you went a long way to make this meeting possible. I had to pay you the respect. Please do speak of your intentions and how I could be of assistance to you. I want you and your buddies in the court to pass the changes. We need your help with the upcoming vote. I'm prepared to do that, as long as we help each other. He puffed himself up. I can help you beyond this vote. Wouldn't you want to have a Chief Justice who'd be sympathetic to your concerns? Doesn't it sound nice? So you want to take Orso's place? I don't think you'd be that person. You're right, it does sound rather nice. Well, I agree. I already have a reasonable support behind me. If you can help me with some new investments, I can be a valuable ally to have in the Supreme Court. And I'll support you, not only with the vote, but afterwards. Fine, I'm sure this would convince you. I can't promise that. Sure, I'm sure this would convince you. We've already gone the corruption route. Why not go further? He smiled. I guess this works. Fine, I'll help you with the vote. He put his hat back on. Looking forward to our cooperation. We shook hands and he left me alone with my thoughts. Well, that was easy. All I have to do is give people money. Simple. Simple as that. Who would have known? Okay, let's hope they actually vote my way. And the corruption doesn't, you know, come out. But hey, I'm immune to impeachment if we pass this, so. Announcement of the Supreme Court decision. All right, let's go. Let's see how it all works. Back at the office, I was eagerly awaiting the decision of the Supreme Court regarding our change to the Constitution. I stood up from my chair and looked out the window. Peter was with me, slouching on the couch to the right side of the office and staring at the ceiling. The whole process had been tough on all of us, but now there was nothing left to do but wait for the justices to cast their vote. What do you think, Anton? Are we going to make history today? Yes, I'm sure of it. I bought them. I bought the justices. So you trust Isabel to bring the votes? I'm sure she will support the proposal. I hope so, but I guess the important person in all this is her own. But anyway, we'll learn about this vote soon. The session must have started already. What time is it? I looked at the tall case in the room. It was already 20 past 11. The court's voting session was scheduled to end in 10 minutes. We have about 10 minutes. Okay, we'll soon hear about the results then. Anyway, he yawned and stretched out on the couch. I don't know if you noticed, but Kessero has been very popular in the assembly of late. Our party's been supporting him on a lot of bills, some of which have already reached you. What do you think of this? I think he's a very dangerous man, Anton. We can't let him divide our party. No problem with bipartisan bills passing the assembly. I agree, we have to watch him closely. I don't make anything out of it. It's expecting that he'd get the support of the conservative wing. Yeah, we should watch him closely. His party only holds 40 seats, Anton, yet he manages to pass bills. Maybe we shouldn't allow our party to be so generous with what they support. Suddenly, Livia entered the room, and in her hands was a large object wrapped in straw paper. Good day to you, Mr. President. Am I interrupting anything? No, please come in. Is there a problem? The Chief Justice sent you this. He sent me the wrapped object. What is it? I don't know. A painting? I'll just bring it to you. She walked up to the table and gave it to me. I immediately started to remove the wrapping to reveal a framed photo. It was an old black and white photograph of Tarquin's soul posing on the destroyed tank in Holsword Square. The building behind him had thousands of bullet holes on it and clearly readable slogan, "Victory is close," written on its walls. Okay. Did Orso say anything to you this? Noticing Peter on the couch, Livia reddened slightly. She gave a small wave, which Peter returned. Yeah. This must be some kind of message. Mr. President, the vote has been concluded. Congratulations, sir. The constitutional changes are finalized with 6 justices voting for the proposal. Yes! Bribery works! Congratulations, Anton. This is a historic moment, Anton. We have changed Seoul's constitution of 1929. I am without words. Hey, Major. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. We did it together. Hell yeah, we did. Shake his hand. You did well, Anton. Congratulations, sir. It's a big day. You must also start preparing a speech to announce the changes, sir. I'll go ahead and reach out to the cabinet. We can celebrate this together over a meeting. All of us immediately got to work to plan our next steps after our Supreme Court victory. Yeah. Okay. There you have it, folks. Supreme Court has amended the Constitution, or has agreed to amend the Constitution. 2-term limit. Presidential decrees require an enabling act. Election threshold of 10%. Appointment of ministers requires the assembly. Presidential immunity. Vetoes can be overruled. Presidential immunity. Boom, shakalaka. I don't know what the significance of some of these updates are. Felix Braun, Curl, I don't know. All right, news. New Constitution. After the Grand National Assembly's approval of the proposed changes to the Constitution, the Supreme Court also voted in favor of the new Constitution on Friday, making the changes official. The new Constitution replaces several of the major sections that were seen as unchangeable, and which many sword saw as owing to its origins to the military rule of Tarquin Sol back in 1929. One of the key changes was taking the Supreme Court's vote on constitutional changes, allowing the Grand National Assembly to make changes to the Constitution without the Supreme Court's approval. This is a triumph for all swords who love this country and its unity. Although some observers expressed disappointment that the new changes do not reflect the will of the people, many USP supporters reacted with jubilation in public spaces across Sordland on Friday night. The much-awaited change is here. The new changes to the Swordish Constitution are approved and made by the Supreme Court on Friday. The biggest change is probably the new constitutional amendment process, which will not include the Supreme Court. The Constitution also brings limits to the previously absolute presidential vetoes, allowing the Assembly to bypass the President's decision if they gather enough support. These much-awaited changes are celebrated by millions of Swordish citizens who flocked to the streets in support for the new Constitution. While some of the opposition talked about their concerns, most of Sordland is showing their support for President Rayne, who managed to succeed in the unthinkable, changing the Constitution of Tarquin Sol. Oh yeah. Alright, victory. Victory, 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 victory. Cabinet meeting on the results of the vote. Lucien stood upright, holding a large folder of files under his arm. He bowed in acknowledgement. He looked exhausted. The cabinet is gathered in the White Room, sir. The Vice President will be opening the session soon. We can go in whenever you're ready. Anything you want to say before we go in? I want to congratulate you again, sir. You wrote history. I couldn't have done it without you, Lucien. I think we should go, sir. Vice President Vectorn must have started the session already. Lucien held the door for me when we both left the office to the White Room. When we entered the room, Peter was speaking to the cabinet members who were already seated around the table. As soon as they noticed me, they all stood up. Good day, everybody. Please have a seat. Peter turned toward me. Everybody except him took their seats. He stood right next to my chair in the middle. And here is our president. He held out my chair for me to sit down and smiled. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss our current status and plan the remaining of our term. I know that some of you have had your concern about our style of governance so far. There will be a time to speak up about these in the meeting today. But I must also thank you for your hard work. So far. We are very lucky to have a team like this. All of you have been invaluable to this administration. Nia and CR grimaced at his remarks. Yeah, because they both are pissed off about the amendments. Oh well. Having said that, now we've reached a critical point of our term. We're nearing the end. We've successfully made changes to the Swordish Constitution. This is a historic accomplishment. Without this team, it couldn't have been possible. Even though some people, even within our own administration, had hoped to see us fail on the court, we succeeded. Cabinet members started looking around the room. Peter glanced at me and CR, who were sitting next to each other. The new Constitution has brought us one step closer to the Swordish dream. We should be proud for having strengthened our democracy. Mr. President, I wouldn't go so far as to claim we've strengthened our democracy. We know where the real power is gathered. Everyone in the room turned to look at Nia. Ciara put her hand on Nia's shoulder. The room fell silent for a second. Peter broke the silence with a cough. You do not need to feel proud, Miss Morgana. Please let me finish. Keep listening. Our success with these changes has brought with it great support. Our party, which was divided at the beginning of our term, is finally coming together once more. So let's start this meeting with a brief look at some reports. He fumbled with the stack of papers in front of him. According to the latest polls, we've seen an enormous decrease in our... Wait, what? The public opinion of our party's at an all-time low? I don't understand some of this. This doesn't quite make sense. Despite everything, we've managed to greatly slow the recession. The economy is going up. It's green. All right, let's get started. First, I want to hear brief reports from each ministry. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, the recession is slowly getting under control. We still couldn't reach positive GDP growth this year. The projected value is recorded as negative 4%. That's not even slowing. That's disastrously bad. Thanks to our balanced budget, we're eyeing a slight reduction on our national debt at the end of the term, if my economic projections hold up with the current trend, of course. No, J Street, we bribed the Supreme Court into following me. I literally spent 2 personal wealth to get them on my side. On the other hand, unemployment reports indicate that we achieved a minimal increase in employment. Okay. Any concerning developments? Well, I don't want to get too much into detail right now, but apart from that, I'll finish with an update on our latest project. The manager reported that everything is going well and very fast in the Morna port. I'll keep it brief for the sake of the whole meeting, and my report is on that note. Concerns have been heard. I'll also keep it very brief, Mr. President. The trade deal with Valen increased our agricultural exports from the Bergia region. We're slowly but surely reigniting our agricultural production. Our ministry is aiding the farmers with government subsidies. We're sure this will have a positive reflection on our economy in the near future. Finally, although it's not strictly my purview, I'll provide you with a quick update on the situation with Gasom. The returns have come in from the shares Sordland recently sold, and unfortunately we only a low profit from the sale. That'll be all. Good, let's move on to the next report.
Mr. President, our state finances require immediate attention. We are experiencing long lines in front of hospitals everywhere.
I don't know why he's talking like that, but... Small polio outbreak. Thank you, Mr. Benavale. The Ministry of Defense has a very important report regarding our situation with Rumberg. The investigation showed that Rumberg was in fact weaponizing rebels against our state. We've learned that they have been aiding the Blutish rebels in Valen too. Our military must stand ready for any possible attack coming from Rumberg. We've gathered intelligence reports, their military research and production. They're building a massive army. We urgently need to increase our own military production. Aren't we already doing that? Sure, make the necessary arrangements. Perla has agreed to begin deal negotiations. We'll be moving on with that very soon. Our relations with Angola have greatly improved. Our ministries have scheduled many joint projects together. Cooperation between Valen and Sordland has increased to a new level. However, we're seeing the negative impact with Lespasia. The region is very unstable with the incidents at Rumberg, Valen, and Hedgeland. We must be very cautious. We can talk in more detail at our foreign policy meeting. Our ministry is working day and night to improve our education system and increase its accessibility, but the lack of funding has made that very difficult. The situation remains the same as before. Mr. President, there's an important report regarding our intelligence officers. We've disrupted the radio signals of several active Blutish Freedom Front militants in Bergia. There seems to be some sort of preparation going on. Our police is also under pressure from beginning to protest again. We might need to implement some new measures soon. We'll provide you with more detailed reports at a later date. Unfortunately, the departure of Governor Braun, the situation in the special zone has barely changed. Despite not following the extreme policies of his predecessor, Governor Krul is continuing with his discriminatory policies against the Bloods. I'm afraid if this continues, we'll have a major problem in our hands. The reports of the BFF are organizing its forces are very concerning. Luckily, I have some good news about the abolishment of the Bergia Special Zone. Apart from a few small details, the project is ready to be implemented and we can get rid of that governor soon. I will send the final documents to sign soon, Mr. President. Great work. One more important thing. I'd like to transfer the gendarme under the Ministry of the Interior to improve the internal security efforts. I haven't heard of this before. I'm still working on the proposal and have legal backing for it. I was going to mention it later. The Ministry of Defense shouldn't be meddling with the internal security affairs through the gendarme. If the security situation gets more problematic, then it might be necessary. It will eventually be necessary. I mean, I would imagine the military would be a little pissed. We've allied with Agnolia. Slicer. I can't make that promise. I don't want soldiers policing my population, but I don't trust Lils as far as I can throw something. Okay. All right, what are the plans going forward? It's time to focus on changing our party as a whole. I'll add a new vision in our manifesto. The public opinion is concerning. We must focus on campaigning for the next election. The economy will be our #1 priority until the end of our term. We'll aim to boost it further. More, I think the economy. I guess the economy. We should focus on eliminating poverty and homelessness. We can't get elected if we don't improve the economy. Almost everybody seemed to be in agreement with me. If there's no comment, let's move on with the meeting. I believe that's everything. Okay. Mr. President, just a quick word regarding the investment I arranged for you. Your vineyard in El Rey has begun producing some wine. I've also arranged for several tasting sessions in order to sample the product. In a few years, the vineyard may even challenge the regional rivals, but that would need some further attention to rank among Sordland's best. I'm just happy to support Swordish businesses. We're already 2 years into our term, I think it said, just now. Whistleblower agent report. Agent Hellstone has revealed intelligence about a secret nuclear weapons program developed in Rumburg. Oh shit. Our intelligence has verified the details relayed about a heavy water facility in the north of the kingdom and a ballistic missile test site. The agent will provide security until production program will be given the resources to transfer further intelligence. Fuck. We did improve our Air Force. Could we do like a surgical strike on it? Yesterday morning, a group of protesters assembled in front of Gelsord City Hall and have not dispersed. The group is responsible for blocking our vehicles. Mayor of Gelsord reported the situation posed no active danger and that the people are only exercising their right to protests. Gelsord is in Gelsland. Why don't they like me? I get why maybe the Bloods aren't thrilled with me. Thousands of Bludish people have gathered in protest to call for the special zone to be abolished. Well, that is my plan. Gang violence claims more lives. The Cornali Crime Syndicate. The Cornali Crime Syndicate. Are these related to the whatever? No, maybe not. I was going to ask, is it related to that oligarch? Okay, what's the next thing? Address to the nation about the something? I don't even know what we're addressing. Rubber bullets now? I don't think we're quite to that point. I hope not. Ooh, we get one of these epic music overtones. Lucian and I walked into my office in the Maroon Palace to make my address to the nation. It was unusually crowded today. Lights, microphones were set in place, and the crew was standing by ready to start filming. Are you ready, sir? I'm always ready. Good. I think the crew is ready. As soon as you take your seat, we can go live. I took my seat and rearranged my notes on the desk as the crew member powdered my face with a cotton puff. After everybody was ready, the director gave the sign to start filming. I looked directly into the camera. Brothers and sisters. We'll go with my fellow swords. No, my fellow citizens. My fellow citizens. I'd like to speak about our future, about a great historic effort to give the words unity and hope new meaning and power. I'm proud of what our government has accomplished. We finally brought fairness and balance to our once decrepit system. No, we're not done yet. We have finally reached a turning point in Sordland's history. 2 years ago, I spoke to you of change, and we've accomplished that. Let's do turning point. We finally reached a turning point in Sordland's history. We need to remember where Sordland was 2 years ago. Those days are behind us now, and the change we brought has been real. We transferred a system that had caused endless confusion and resentment into one that is clear and simple and efficient. For the sake of fairness and simplicity and growth, we had to radically change the structure of our government system. I know let's see. Henceforth, our government shall no longer be able to obstruct the will of the people, nor the will of the president. New term limits will ensure that no single person can block change when it is most needed. We eliminated the Supreme Court's iron grip on our legislation. Beyond this, we intend to strengthen the democratic freedoms of every sort of citizen. We did all of this in a time of economic stress and despite heavy protests. The new change in our system have planted the seeds for untold future success. Not rest until every sort of citizen enjoys the freedom, dignity, and opportunity that is our birthright. Let history say of us that these were our golden years, when Sordland was reborn and reached out for her best. The United Sordland Party will keep fighting for a stronger, more united Sordland. The future is in our hands. For Sordland, a vision that sees tomorrow's dreams in the learning and hard work we do today. We have begun promisingly, but it is only a beginning. Er Morgana Vescor, Vectorn Sisda. Good speech! Hopefully. What's the news say? Rayne, the future lies in our hands. In his address to the nation, a confident Anton Rayne announced that with his constitutional reforms passed, the future now lies in our hands. The reforms process was long and arduous, taking up much of Rayne's first 2 years in office. Undoubtedly, the president is relieved to be able to move on and finish fulfilling his campaign promises. Hell yeah. When do we have to kick Peter out from the vice presidency to fulfill our promise? He's kind of a dick in that cabinet meeting. Gendarme police issue. A massive miscommunication between the Interior and Gendarme has resulted in a failed raid in Vesord. The Ministry of Defense and Interior have both put blame on each other. Great. Radical journalists killed en route to interview. A devastating incident in Vesord has shaken the journalism community. A reporter from the Radical was killed while traveling to interview Robert Lehman, the influential founder of the State Educators Corps, a known ally of Tarquin's soul. This event has sent shockwaves across the city and is currently under investigation. The motives behind the act and the potential ramifications on press freedom remain a topic of grave concern. Well, shit, I didn't have anything to do with that. I sure hope Leals didn't do it. The Queen demands reparations for 15-day war. What? Queen Beatrice Livingston has called for reparations to be paid for the so-called past atrocities that occurred during the 15-day war. Rumberg demands that the price of past wrongdoings must be paid if a path to peace is open between the two nations. Well, that doesn't sound promising. Oh shit, our son's going to war. I forgot I sent him to the military academy. The Peter path can get pretty dark. Well, we'll see. By the way, we'll probably do the giveaway in about 20 minutes at about the 1 hour mark of the stream. You only get one entry per, so if you did it once, that's your entry. It was a cloudy, rainy day in Holsword. The gloomy weather couldn't dampen my spirits. My constitutional reforms had passed in court. I had won. That wasn't the only cause for excitement in the Rayne household. Today, Frank was finally leaving home. My son piled in the last of his bags next to the door. Serge and the assistant driver were waiting outside next to the car. Did you pack everything? Don't forget to give me a call immediately after you arrive. I will. I think I'm all packed. Monica helped him put his backpack on while Serge started carrying the luggage to the car. I made you a sack lunch. I'll get it from the kitchen. She dashed down the hall. Frank and I turned to face each other in the doorway. So I guess this is it. I hope they'll teach you how to be a better shot than me. I know the military wasn't your first choice, but it's for your own good. I'll try to be a little bit light. We'll have a little bit of levity. We'll go with number 2. That won't be hard. I remember our hunting trip. Frank shifted his weight nervously. I haven't forgot what you told me about your university years. I hope the Army gives me a chance to prove myself the same way you did. Oh god, he's gonna try and be a war hero, isn't he? Just don't do anything stupid. You don't have to prove yourself, Frank, to anyone, especially not me. Frank smiled. All right, Dad. At that moment, Deanna rushed to the door. Frank, I'm gonna miss you. I'll miss you too. Don't forget, you've got to give Mom and I hope I also didn't just make him a coward with that. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Just be smart, kid. Be smart. Okay. Frank picked up his sister and gave her a big hug. Monica appeared in the doorway holding a paper bag. I cut the crust off your sandwich just the way you used to like. Not a kid anymore. Can a mother pretend? Oh, Frank. She embraced him with tears in her eyes. Frank looked as if he was about to cry as well. I caught her glaring at me over her shoulder. I hoped someday she would understand why I decided to send him anyway. Serge approached. Frank needs to catch the next bus to the border to get to the military academy before roll call. We'll have to leave now to make it. Thank you, Serge. Make me proud someday. It's difficult to see him grow and leave, isn't it? It's time for him to find himself in the world. He will. We all did, after all. Military education changes a man, even if he never sees combat. I think it'll be a liberating experience for him. It's never easy for boys to live in the shadow of their fathers, and it must be even harder when one's father is Anton Rayne. A great man like you casts a very long shadow. Not everybody thinks that. Excuse my language, Mr. President, but to hell with them. You are my president now and forever. Time to go. Monica stood next to me as they drove away. Her eyes were teary. There he goes. It already feels different. She put her head on my shoulder.
We still have each other.
I know. At least he has a father he can boast to his friends about. Anton, the great reformer. Sounds good, doesn't it? We watched for a few more minutes. Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do, by the way. Don't let anybody know who your dad is. Don't be a standout. Don't be a target. We watched for a few more minutes, even after the car was no longer in sight. That's like when you're, you don't want to be the one military guy who like went to college or like whose dad was like in the military as like a senior rank. That just, that gets you, that puts a target on you. Vagsland harasses sort of ships. What the fuck are they doing? Those jerks. Odd gathering at tree plantation near Dyer. A gathering of 9,000 to 10,000 individuals was spotted in the tree plantation near Dyer. That's not good. Large-scale protests during FC Gelsord and FC Enrica Derby. Hooligans from both sides caused extensive property damage to the stadium in their protest against the police. To prevent the incident from expanding further, the extra police units had to be deployed. Jesus. Thanks for the follow, Vector. Protesters walking from Lockhaven to Holsword. A new type of anti-violent protest is gaining traction in Lockhaven. The protesters said they're going to be walking from Lockhaven to Holsword in a display for peace. With squad cars following the crowd. I don't want war. Who says I want war? Violent protests in Holsword State University. Calling themselves the New Youth started protesting the police involvement in the protests. The protest turned violent and an assailant threw a Molotov cocktail on a squad car. Jesus. 14 have been arrested, as well as the ringleader. Presidential salary increased. The Grand National Assembly discussed and passed a new law increasing the yearly salary of elected officials, including the President of Sordland. Yay, we got one more personal wealth. Scholarship program proposal. A proposal for a large scholarship program is on the table. Okay. A large volume scholarship program is proposed by Lucien to improve the conditions for the less fortunate students. The Rayne Scholarship will cover most, if not all, expenses for an estimated 50,000 students at or below the poverty line. Yeah, let's do it. Maybe it'll make CR like me a little bit more. Summer love has begun amidst the rise and unrest. A large group overtook a small farm near Dyer. Tree stock, so it's like Woodstock. Okay, walk for peace. Okay. Vagslandian ships harassing the entire Markian Sea. Quinnell's Anti-Piracy Summit, united effort to combat rising piracy. Walker wins Arcasian election, stabilizing Venter City and economic stagnation. Queen Beatrice demands reparations for century-old alleged war crimes. The escort incident of the 15-day war. Okay. Hundreds killed in Hegeland. The whole world's about to erupt into flame and fury, it would seem. Education Scholarship Fund. Yay, that's green. That's good for welfare. And a dispute with the military? The Military of the Interior and Military Ministry of Defense are currently in a legal dispute. Oh. Well, that isn't good. What's over here? Yeah, let's dispute with the Interior. Okay. Discussion on the changes to the law. Lucian and I sat in my office waiting for Peter. I was on my desk and waiting on the sofa, legs crossed. I have some news for you. Mr. Hall and I have been working on several possible plans to boost the economy as our focus. He's currently compiling a very detailed report with suggested projects. I'll make sure you have a chance to see it soon. Looks like Mr. Vice President is late yet another time. I'm slightly concerned about Peter. He seems to have his mind occupied. He's been late to almost every meeting we've had recently. I noticed too. I need to talk to him in private sometime. He walked inside with... I read that as flies in both hands, with files in both hands. Why are you so late? We were stuck in traffic around Seoul Square. There was a whole gaggle of ladies trying to organize an illegal march. We had to wait for the police to show up. He placed the files on my table and took out several documents he had organized in front of me. Here's everything, just as you asked, our plans for our next reforms. Here's some suggested reforms. You can pass these with your decrees like you like. Let's go over the documents. You can select up to 3 decrees to enact. Capital punishment. Sordland's prisons have hundreds of high-profile criminals serving their time. Capital punishment was outlawed in the 40s, but a new decree can reinstitute it for high crimes if dangerous criminals were found guilty through a fair and judicial process. You do not have sufficient decree powers. I can't do it. So I can't do any... What's the point of the decrees if I can't do any of them? So if we had instituted more powerful decrees, we could have a decree on capital punishment, gun laws, we could purge the general staff. Oh, that'd be fun. That's too bad. Relocation of teachers and doctors to rural areas. Remove independence of the central bank. I do not remember all these options previously. Man, this really gives some credence to go on the dictator route. You have a lot more options. Fair Trade and Competition Commission. What would this do? The Trade and Commerce in Sordland has a few regulatory measures. New Fair Trade Commission can be established. We could do that. We can do free prescription medicine. I assume that would cost budget. It would. Supreme Court of Sordish Radio and Television. What's this? Freedom of speech is protected in Sordland, but with the rise of new media, private organizations gained a massive influence on society. With the new decree, we could create a government agency, the SRSC, that could protect the independence of the media or control it. Well, we already have the head of the media on our side, so... I don't see anything I'd want to do here. Maybe the free and fair competition? That could be good for the economy. Free prescription medicine sounds like a good idea, but I'm worried about like what the next budget's going to look like, if I'm going to be able to do anything. Or if anything comes up, like if I have no extra cash on hand. So I think we'll hold off on doing anything else. I don't know. Free prescription medicine seems like nice. I can't do the VAT. I don't have sufficient decree powers. I can go into a little bit of debt. That's true. Nah, screw it. Let's do it. I feel like these minor decisions like this don't really have a big impact on the game, but I could be wrong. It just seems like anytime I've done this, it hasn't really made a meaningful difference. Okay. Yeah, get rid of the frickin' zone. We said we didn't want to have the zone, didn't we? Sign the documents. Ooh, state-of-the-art aircraft. Enter inventory. Sordland's Minister of Defense, General Josef Lancia, is reporting that the effort to modernize our air force is complete. According to his report, our existing 410 Sordish S-13 fighters and Benif delivery B-34 bombers have been upgraded with the latest technology, S-16 fighter jets and Benif Prime Delivery P. This sounds like something Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Benif Prime Delivery BPD-36 bomber on Amazon Next Day Direct. The new bombers have increased the range, speed, bomb payload, along with more sophisticated radar and radio guidance. Okay. Lungcard commerce at an all-time high. Okay. That's good. Wait, our growth went away. Why? We still have a consistent economy. Free prescription drugs. Okay. Medicine is fully free. All medicine is fully free from now on. The highly but not fully subsidized prescription medicine has been made fully free by the state on this day through a decree signed by President Anton Rayne. The joyous news was received positively by the very sick who rely on expensive medication imported from United Cantana or Acacia for illness like cancer. The move relieves the slight burden that was felt more on the backs of the working class. The administration has done a great service to the people through this action, and we hope that many more acts of state support will come for welfare. Yay! So the president of Lespasia too drunk to get off the plane? That's not great. The Bergia Standardization and Unity Measure. The BSUM bill has been passed by the GNA. The Bergia Standardization and Unity Measure, dubbed the BSUM, outlines the course for the full integration of Bergia into the national governance. Wait, this costs budget? Fucking A. I endorse the abolishment of the government's position transitioning the mayoral elections within the city. This change aligns Bergia's local government with the rest of the nation, fostering a sense of unity and national integration. So the special zone is being eliminated. I'll go into debt for that. All right, we're going to do trade talks with the president of Lespasia soon. Hopefully that helps prevent any revolution. Special zone abolished. The special zone of Bergia has been officially abolished, marking a significant step toward a more unified administrative structure in Sordland. Under the new framework, Bergia will align with a standard regional structure, bringing it under the direct jurisdiction of the Ministry of the Interior. This move, supported by President Rayne, aims to promote greater equality and democratic representation within the region. The position of governor, previously held by Felix Braun, has been abolished, allowing for the upcoming local elections where residents will have the opportunity to elect their own mayors and municipal representatives. Yes, so now you do not need to revolt or complain about me. Trade talks. Modernization slicer. The train has been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office. Among the camera flashes and cheers, we departed for the Whole Sword Central train station. We passed through the Lespasian Mountains. Looking outside the window, the difference in wealth between Vagsland and Sierra Nueva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on the door of my office. Mr. President. Simon, have a seat. I wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. Go on. He's known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Is this something that could affect the trade deal? Honestly, I don't know. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he's unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Why is that? Although his presidency is riddled with these kind of incidents, I also heard that he's a shrewd man. I'm sure we'll be fine, Mr. President. We're almost at Perla. I'll return to my cabin now. Sat and waited for the Prime Minister. Keep on waiting. He's like General MacArthur. Inspect the teapot. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around and looked at 2 items in the room. Inspect the teapot. While I was touching, the handle broke off. I looked around. Thankfully, no one was in the room. Oops. Did I just cause an international incident? Leave the broken handle next to the teapot. He gestured toward the 2 and we sat down face to face. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your successes. And I hear a lot about yours. Try, Mr. Rayne. So you're here for the trade deal. What's it about again? Can you remind me? We want to provide Sordish tungsten in return for Lespasian capital. Yes, right. Sorry, I've just been very busy lately. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy, so I don't have any issues with this deal. Except there's one problem. Valen. Your decision to defend the border while Smollett committed war crimes diverted all those refugees here. Now we have a full-blown refugee crisis in Lespasia, which unfortunately means that the price has gone up, Mr. Rayne. Makes sense. I knew this was coming. So what's the new price tag? I want the only thing that anyone could possibly ever want out of Valen. I want their oil. I'm listening. A lot of oil from Valen is passing through Sordland. And the Sordish Petroleum owns most of the oil trade in Sordland. You see where I'm going with that? Let's say you don't. I want you to sell me the Sordish Petroleum, Sordish Petroleum, or the deal is off. You're really a shrewd man, Mr. Alvarez. I'll take that as a compliment. Can we even do that? Don't we have a law that says we can't do that? There's no way I can do that. I don't have enough budget to take that hit. Plus, it would hurt Gassom probably. If I just... No, I can't do that. Before I forget, you owe me a teapot. Well, so much for a new trade deal with Lespasia. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. We had a giveaway where we gave a few Suzerain keys away at this point in the live stream. So this is as good of a point to stop as any. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.